actually was a bodyguard for Michael Jordan for a little bit, doing his, but just during when he would travel during like summer camps. So yeah, I've been to sports. I had like no way but to just be a sports person.
So you met the legend Michael Jordan? Yo, this is Leo Black exclusively at Dame Dash Studios, and this is the Leo Black Show. This is Leo. We at Dame Dash Studios, and this is the Leo Black Show. And I have a special guest with me, Britt Johnson.
Every time like I get introduced, people say Britt Johnson, like I'm like a rap star or something. It's very interesting. But thank you for having me on the show.
We gotta definitely touch on that then and see who's like your favorite rap star. You know, that'd be awesome. But we want to start from the very beginning. I mean, I'm interested in the very beginning. You know, what started this series of accomplishments. You have a lot under your belt. You know, I could say sports anchor. I could say news reporter. I could say sports reporter, vlogger, influencer, media personality. So many things that you are, and you perfected all of them. So, I mean, how does one even start?
First of all, I'll Venmo you for that after. Thank you for saying all that. But I actually originally, when I was in college, I was a pre-law major. I wanted to be a sports agent. And then my senior year, I ended up doing an internship at a local news station. I was just in regular news for like one day. And then one of the sports reporters that quit or didn't show up, and they're like, hey, do you know sports? Like they asked all the interns, and I was like, yeah, I know sports. And so I went into sports that day, and I never looked back. So that's kind of, I switched my major my senior year and started doing sports reporting and stuff just at the news station. And I kind of, you know, they always say if you find something you love doing, you'll never work another day in your life. And I kind of finished my internship hours, which I think was like 300 for the semester. I finished it like midway through the semester because I just loved being there all the time. Like, forget going to the football games my senior year, I wanted to work them and be on the field and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where it all started at. But there was like breaks in between. Like right when I graduated college, I couldn't get a job in that field because that's when everything, like the economy went terrible, and so I was bartending and serving for a long time, and I was like an HR manager at Abercrombie & Fitch, a bunch of random jobs until I kind of came back into sports, and haven't looked back since.
That's amazing. So that started in high school. How was middle school? How was elementary?
We're going way back.
Let's
okay,
go.
well I guess my original love for sports came because I actually was a cheerleader my whole life. Like I cheered for, I want to say like 15, 16 years. And I was always captain, and as captain, you know, at football games or basketball games, you're responsible for calling the cheers, and the cheers have to match up with the plays that are being called. So you have to know it's third down and you want to get a first down. You have to know when they're going to punt the ball, so you don't call a, you know, offensive cheer. Then you would want to call a neutral cheer. So I kind of learned the game because I was in cheer, oddly enough. And I have 2 real brothers, 2 stepbrothers, and 2 godbrothers, so 6 guys around me all the time, and so I didn't get to control the remote control very often, and sports is always on.
Yeah, you must feel pretty safe, 7, like bodyguard.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad actually was a bodyguard for Michael Jordan for a little bit, doing his, but just during when he would travel during like summer camps. So yeah, I've been to sports. I had like no way but to just be a sports person.
So you met the legend Michael Jordan?
I never got to meet him, no.
Yeah.
When he was doing that, I actually lived with my mom and my stepdad, and my stepdad was in the military, so I lived in like Kentucky and Virginia, Alaska, all these random places. So I unfortunately did not meet the GOAT, Michael Jordan, but he's, you know, he's the GOAT forever in my heart.
That's facts,
Yeah.
that's facts.
I'm glad we agree on that, because people like to say LeBron or Kobe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT.
Yes, that's facts. He's the best ever. And he's the
Yeah.
best ever still alive. Like, you know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I love the shoes too. I love Jordans.
Yeah, I actually got my first pair of Jordans. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. Because I was never a tennis shoe person. I've always been like a Nike girl. And then one of my friends, this is like an embarrassing story, but one of my friends actually was talking to me about like, oh, that guy looks like he wears like Team Jordans or whatever. And I was like, I don't know the difference. To me, if you're on Jordan's team, like, aren't you still winning? Like, Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen are still winning to me. So to me, to be Team Jordan should be good. But I guess Team Jordans are the ones they sell at like Ross or something, right? So I didn't know the difference, and so she put me up on game, and my first Jordans were the 7 hairs, and 7s I think have been my favorite. Like, I have 3 pairs and they're all 7s, so they look good on my feet, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you got small feet. Jordans always look good on small feet.
Yeah.
But I like the ones. Those are my favorite all time. They go with anything. Retro ones, but you're right. Retros are the Jordans that everybody wears. And if, like in my school, if you weren't wearing retro Jordans, you would get kind of like bullied.
Really? Aww. No bullying. Bullying is bad.
Yeah,
it was like National Anti-Bullying Day the other day, so.
Yeah, it's a lot been going on. But,
yeah.
But I was a football player as well, so I can relate to the cheerleading.
Really? How tall are you?
As well. I'm 6 foot.
6
so,
foot. What
185.
position did you? Were you a receiver then?
No, I was
Corner?
Running back. Yeah.
That's a tall running back.
Yeah.
Well, unless you played before you got that height.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer, so when I was like in middle school, I was small. High school, I was small. So I played college freshman, then sophomore. Then I went to varsity. So I made varsity at my sophomore year, so I was like in the 10th grade. So I was
Yes, I do know how old a 10th grader, sophomore. Yeah. Good times, good times.
That was good times. So sports background. So you must be athletic, try for Olympics, you know, like how did cheerleading even start?
I always cheered since I can remember. I think I started cheering like the 1st grade. So, and I was like one of those like I remember one time I dislocated my shoulder because I was a flyer also. So I was like one of the girls they like threw in the air. And I dislocated my shoulder, and I still practiced the whole day. I just did it with like one arm. Like I thought, I was like the cheerleader. You know, have you ever seen the videos of like the cheerleader gets like hurt at the basketball game, and she's like in a freaking neck brace, and she's like still cheering, like yes, go team. Like that was me. Yeah, that's die hard. That's die hard. But our cheer, like we actually had like 3 guys that were on the football team that were also on our cheer squad in high school, because our cheer squad was relatively well. Our football team was not as good. But my 2 little sisters actually cheer dance right now, and they actually won nationals this year. So they're pretty amazing. Yes.
What school is that?
Clovis East High School.
Clovis East High School.
National champs.
National champs.
Yes. So I have a senior and a junior sister that go there, and they both are on the team. So yeah. But I'd like to think they started cheering and dancing because of me. So, you know. I'm the big sis, you know?
Starts in the family. You definitely influence them, you know. It's just like, I bet you're like a good influence on your younger siblings because like you really have achievements, you know. So that's inspiring for like the youth to be able to see, you know, and be able to be inspired by that because, you know, they're going in the right direction. You know, you definitely have that under your belt. So congratulations.
Thank you. I think it's important to. I don't know if it's necessarily, bless you, whoever sneezed over there. I think it's important to be, on social media with like all the, I don't know if you just saw on Instagram today, they like announced that they're gonna get rid of the filters that like make you look like you had plastic surgery or whatever.
Skinny noses.
Yeah.
Chin.
And you follow me on Instagram.
I do.
And I don't know if you've ever looked at my IG stories, but like, I just did a whole thing about the Clippers. Shout out to the Clippers, beat the Lakers yesterday.
Are you a Clippers fan?
I am. I'm a huge Clippers fan.
They're playing at home though. Come on, like they gotta play.
They both play at the Staples Center. And actually, Kawhi got booed before the game and like during his first like time to the line to shoot a free throw because there were a lot of Lakers fans there as well. But And we didn't have Paul George, who I went to college with, went to Fresno State, so shout out to Paul George. But I just think there's so many people that are, everybody looks the same on social media and everybody's doing whatever, but I like to be very authentic, and none of my videos or none of my pictures, I don't edit anything. Unless I'm being stupid, I'll put a filter on it, but I usually don't even have a filter. It's just me, it's just who I am. If I look whatever fat in that picture, I'm just gonna be fat in real life. And I think more influencers should be like that, instead, because they're posting stuff that's not attainable and it's not even real, and they don't necessarily even have that themselves. Like, if you're editing your picture and making your stomach way smaller and your butt way bigger and stuff, and then you meet these people in real life and they don't look like that. But like on social media, most of these people aren't meeting these people, so these young girls are thinking that their bodies can just naturally look like that, or they can wear like a waist trainer and then get a small waist and a big butt without doing anything. That's not true, and it's not real. And I would like to encourage influencers to start, being authentic to themselves. And that's something that I've really tried to do, especially having my younger sisters.
Definitely. So was grade school, when you were in grade school, did they even have social media? What was it like, and who did you look up to?
I mean, I'm not 1,000 years old, but
Well, I mean, like, I thought we were still in middle school around here.
Okay, in middle school I did not have we didn't have social media. In high school is when MySpace became the jam, that's when people got on MySpace. When I got in college, that's when Facebook became a thing. But Facebook actually at the time was only for college students. You had to have a college email address to even sign up for Facebook. In my college, Fresno State was actually one of the first 20 schools that was like testing out Facebook. So we started Facebook even earlier than everybody else. But we had MySpace, and MySpace, I think is when it first started, because they had the top 8, and like you're trying to be on everybody's top 8 because you want to be everyone's favorite person. And they started changing it to where you could like adjust your top 8 and make the first person and change it. Before, it used to just be like a top 8 was a top 8. So I think that's kind of when it started, and people started like, oh, I gotta be everybody's favorite person. And now it kind of goes along with likes and followers and all of that kind of stuff.
That's fact. So the 559, Fresno State, you live in Fresno. How was that? Were you in a sorority? Were you being a new sport? Did you follow your football team? Your basketball team for Fresno State?
Yeah, funny. So the sorority thing, I actually tried to join one of the black sororities, and they did not want me to be on it, because the girl that was like the president, there was a guy she liked and he liked me, so they did not pick me for that reason. So after that, like because my friend who was also white, one of my roommates, they picked her to do it, and my other roommate to do it, and I was the only one like at the time that had attended all the events and the charity stuff leading up to like pledging, and they didn't pick me. And then both of them were like, no, you probably just need to talk to like the president and just like tell her that you don't like that guy and yada yada. And I was like, I am sorry, but I am not going to be a part of a group that's supposed to like empower black women and all this kind of stuff, and you didn't choose me strictly because a guy likes me. Like at that point I was like, this happened I think my freshman year, and after that I never had any desire to be in any sorority. So did not do that, and I think that's when I kind of focused more on just doing sports and being in that realm. And so yes, I heavily followed all of my college teams. Like our women's basketball team was actually really, really good and made it all the way to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, I think, one of my years. And they were actually really good, and every year I always make sure I go to a Sparks game, at least one. One of my little sisters actually is on the dance team for the Sparks, so she drives out here during the summertime, like every week, and does the games. She's the youngest girl on the team, only 16, and yeah.
And it's a college team?
No, she's on the Sparks, LA Sparks, the WNBA team.
Wow.
The dance team for them. Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't even know.
Yeah, for the WNBA, the girls can be 16 to be on the dance team, and then obviously for NBA and NFL, you have to be 18. But so she's on the WNBA team right now for the dance team, not basketball. But yeah, so I have a soft spot for women's basketball. I think it's really entertaining if you actually go to games. But yeah, I followed all my sports pretty much.
Congrats to her, you know, making the WNBA cheerleading team.
Yeah.
That is priceless. I saw her dance actually. I remember you showing me on
Yeah.
a video.
Oh yeah, I did. That's right.
But she is a talented dancer. What's her name? I mean, shout her out.
Kaya.
Kaya Johnson?
No. She's under 18. I'm not telling people her last name.
Oh yeah, so she
She's a
probably
baby.
still has to have like a parent guardian signature when she joins Sparks. Like
Yeah,
parent
yeah.
consent,
Yeah.
because she's not legally.
Yeah.
legally
Yeah, I mean, and she's old enough to work, so she gets like paid like regular, but yeah.
That's awesome. She's following your lead, you know. She's
exceeding my lead for sure. She's doing amazing.
So that process was actually quicker than yours, like doing a WNBA team at 16. Like you weren't doing that at 16. What were you doing
Absolutely
at 16?
not. I was on my high school team. That's it. Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that's still active, you know,
Yeah.
chilling the game.
And I did actually. Our school had a news broadcast every day. Like instead of doing the morning announcements via like intercom, we actually had like a show. So I guess that was my first introduction to doing what I do now, because I also did that in high school. Yeah, I was one of the anchor people for the daily broadcast at school.